our work, and we appreciate it. And Mr. Williams, I appreciate your comments about, I believe you talked about the grid and improving drinking water supplies and things of that nature. I think we did 12 hearings in the last 2 years on grid adequacy, security, as we look to integrate new resources onto the grid. We got to make sure it'll handle the new renewables and the spikes in power. And so I think the committee did good bipartisan work there. And of course, we reauthorized for the first time about a decade and modernized Safe Drinking Water Act to deal with some of these issues. And we tackled some of the pipeline siting issues as well. And small-scale hydro, I had irrigation districts that have put their open canals into pipes, pressurized the systems, and put a little hydro facility in, and now generate enough power for 3,000 homes just in Central Oregon. So we streamlined some of the licensing there for hydro, which is an area where we get, carbon-free, renewable energy. And to your point, we manage that precious water very carefully. Dr. Eckwursel, I'm curious, you mentioned wildfires. My district is subject to it. As I pointed out, this is habitat. The committee twice held hearings on the human effects of the wildfire smoke, and scientists told us between 2,500 and 25,000 people die prematurely every year from consuming wildfire smoke. We had other forest scientists tell us that part of the problem in the West is overstocked stands, that historically you'd have 70 trees per acre, and today you have 1,000 trees per acre. And of course, we know trees are pumps, they take water out of the ground. As you look at some of this science, is that, knowing the effects of wildfire, is that something your organization would advocate for, is modern forest management practices to reduce excess fuel loads?
I had the opportunity to be in Oregon with Forest Service scientists while fires were going, and seeing the sort of native practices to maintain more healthy forest reserves, definitely prescribed burns, other types of factors are really important. At the same time, you want to keep the carbon of the forest being a net storage for a long time, rather than, we really do need advances in understanding how to keep wildfires safe and keep populations down, smoke, shall we say, because there were studies that it's almost like smoking several packs of cigarettes a day if you're in the summer situation breathing this smoke, which I did breathe some of that Oregon smoke.
We were suffering under this for 6 weeks. Worst air quality in the world, absent Beijing, there were a couple countries around the world that just at different periods had worse. But my district faced this all summer, summer after summer, and we know the prescription is go in and reduce. You're always going to have fire. We're always going to have hurricane. What do we do, though, to minimize the impacts? So thank you for that. Mr. Powell, as you've indicated, we've been pursuing policies on the committee to promote a range of clean technologies, from nuclear energy, hydropower, grid modernization, energy efficiency, battery storage, but clearly we all know more work needs to be done. The chart on page 2 of your written testimony shows the transition to a zero emissions energy system is not yet happening globally. That clean energy is just keeping up with energy demand. And we heard that, I think, from Mr. Worthington, too, about the demand out there, that nations still strive for simply having electricity. How do we build on what we've done domestically so far to increase the pace and scale of technological innovation? And can we do this without imposing economically harmful regulations? And how does deregulatory policy help in innovation?
If we're taking a global lens on this problem, first, thank you for your leadership in the last Congress to expand many of these policies. If we're taking a global lens on this problem, the key is making clean technology cheaper, not traditional energy more expensive. And if we're making clean technology cheaper, then we're focused on things like, to Chairman Tonko's point, moonshot programs to set very aggressive technology goals, for example, the Department of Energy, and devote most of our resources toward achieving those very aggressive cost and performance goals. And then we can do more to set targeted incentives that work with markets to help scale up these technologies and get some of the scale and learning by doing benefits that Mr. Duke discussed. And then we can still do a great deal, for example, in streamlining permitting for new hydro projects. It's still, even despite the great work of this committee, takes far too long to put a new pumped hydro storage facility in place, or to relicense an existing dam, or to power up a non-powered hydro facility.
It seems to me we've led in energy development, clean energy around the globe, and certainly with fracking and natural gas replacing 16 gigawatts of coal, that's made a difference around the world and here at home. And I just want to see America leading these efforts. And obviously, we know industry's going to have to step up to the plate here too, but I sense they're willing to. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, my time's expired, and I appreciate all the testimony of our witnesses. Thank you for participating.
Thank you. The gentleman yields